The Jersey Devil legend begins in 1735 in the desolate pine barrens of southern New Jersey, a vast wilderness of dense forests, sandy soil, and dark swamps. According to the most popular version of the story, a woman named Mother Leeds, sometimes called Jane Leeds or Deborah Leeds, depending on the telling, lived in a cabin deep in the barrens. She was poor, struggling, and already had 12 children. When she discovered she was pregnant with her 13th child, she was overwhelmed with despair. In a moment of rage and exhaustion, she reportedly cursed the unborn child, crying out, "Let this one be a devil." When the baby was born, witnesses claimed it appeared normal at first, but within minutes of birth, the infant began to transform. Its body contorted and changed before the horrified eyes of the midwives and Mother Leeds herself. It grew larger, sprouting bat-like wings from its back. Its face elongated into a horse-like snout with sharp teeth. Horns erupted from its skull. Its hands became clawed. Its feet turned into hooves, and a long forked tail emerged. The creature released an inhuman shriek, attacked everyone in the room, killing, some versions say, then flew up the chimney and disappeared into the pine barrens, where it has lived ever since. Now, there are several problems with this origin story, starting with the fact that there were multiple families named Leeds living in the New Jersey area during the 18th century, and records don't clearly confirm a Mother Leeds with 13 children. Some historians believe the legend may have been politically motivated. There was a prominent man named Daniel Leeds who lived in the area in the late 1600s and early 1700s. He was a Quaker who published almanacs that contained astrological symbols, which led to accusations of devil worship and occultism from his rivals, particularly the Quaker establishment that had expelled him. His family was socially ostracized, and some researchers think the devil was a symbolic attack on the Leeds family reputation rather than a literal monster. Benjamin Franklin even got involved in the Leeds family feud. He published a competing almanac under a pseudonym and famously predicted the death of his rival almanac publisher, Titan Leeds, Daniel's son. When Titan didn't die on Franklin's predicted date, Franklin claimed he must be a ghost and continued to mock him in print. The Leeds family became associated with devilry and the occult in the public imagination, which may have morphed over time into the literal monster legend. But here's the thing. Regardless of how the legend started, people have been reporting actual sightings of a creature matching the Jersey Devil description for nearly 300 years. Native American tribes in the region, particularly the Lenape, had their own legends of a creature they called Emsing that lived in the pine barrens long before European settlers arrived. Early colonists reported strange footprints in the snow prints that looked like a combination of hooves and claws. Livestock would be found dead with mysterious wounds. People heard screams in the night that didn't match any known animal. Throughout the 1800s, sporadic sightings continued. Commodore Stephen Decatur, a famous naval hero, reportedly saw the creature in 1820 while testing cannonballs at a firing range near the pine barrens. According to the story, he saw a strange flying creature and fired a cannonball directly through it, but the creature simply continued flying as if nothing had happened. Joseph Bonaparte, the former king of Spain and Napoleon's older brother, claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting in the barrens around 1820 during his exile in New Jersey. These weren't random, uneducated locals making claims. These were prominent historical figures staking their reputations on bizarre encounters. But everything changed in January 1909, when the Jersey Devil went from folklore to front-page news across the entire country. What happened during that week is one of the most documented mass cryptid sightings in American history, and it remains genuinely difficult to explain away. It started on January 16, 1909, in Woodbury, New Jersey, when a man named Thach Cozens saw a flying creature he couldn't identify. The next night, January 17th, a Burlington, New Jersey resident named James Sackville reported seeing a strange creature with glowing eyes peering into his window. Then the sightings exploded. Over the next 7 days, the creature was reportedly seen by hundreds of people across more than 30 towns in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Bristol, Pennsylvania police officers James Sackville and John Collins both reported seeing the creature on the 19th. They described it as about 3.5 feet tall, with a head like a collie dog, a face like a horse, a long neck, wings about 2 feet long, and legs with hooves. It made a combination screech whistle sound that was unlike anything they'd ever heard. When they tried to approach it, the creature flew away. In Camden, New Jersey, a woman named Mrs. Sorbinski reported that the creature attacked her dog. She heard her dog barking frantically and looked outside to see a large winged creature with glowing red eyes standing over her pet. She screamed, and the creature flew off. Her dog was injured but survived. On January 20th, the creature was seen by multiple witnesses in Haddon Heights. A couple reported seeing it on their roof, leaving strange tracks in the snow. When they examined the tracks the next morning, they found hoof-like prints that seemed to appear on the roof, walk to the edge, then disappears if the creature had flown away. Similar tracks were found all over the region, on roofs, in yards, on frozen rivers. Some tracks appeared to go up the sides of buildings or trees, suggesting the creature could climb or had been airborne. The trolley car system in some areas temporarily shut down because motormen refused to work, terrified they'd encounter the creature. Schools closed in several towns. Workers stayed home. Panic was setting in. The Philadelphia Zoo even offered a reward for the creature's capture, and hunting parties formed to track it down in the Pine Barrens. One of the most dramatic encounters happened at the Riverside Mills in Gloucester City. Workers reported seeing the creature near the building, and when groundskeeper Louis Strayer tried to blast it with a fire hose, the creature attacked him. He fought it off with the stream of water, and it eventually retreated, but not before multiple witnesses saw the encounter. The mill actually shut down temporarily because workers were too frightened to continue. Newspapers went crazy with the story. The Philadelphia Evening Bulletin, the New York Times, the Trenton Evening Times all ran extensive coverage. Skeptics immediately proposed explanations: mass hysteria, misidentified animals, hoaxes, and there definitely were hoaxes. At least one promoter painted a kangaroo green, glued fake wings on it, and charged admission for people to see the captured Jersey Devil. But that doesn't explain the sheer number of independent witnesses who had never met each other and yet described remarkably similar creatures. By the end of January, the sightings tapered off as suddenly as they'd begun. The creature seemed to vanish back into the Pine Barrens, and life returned to normal. But the Jersey Devil had been permanently etched into American popular culture and cryptozoology history. So what actually happened in 1909? Skeptics point to several factors. The early 1900s were a time of rapid change and anxiety: industrialization, urbanization, social upheaval. Mass hysteria was not uncommon in that era. Once the first few sightings were reported, people may have been primed to interpret any unusual sight or sound as the Jersey Devil. A barn owl, a sandhill crane, a large heron, any of these could look bizarre and terrifying in the right conditions, especially at night. Some researchers have suggested that a hammerhead bat, an African species with a truly bizarre horse-like face, might have somehow made its way to New Jersey, though this seems extremely unlikely given the climate and the fact that such a bat would have had to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Others point to the possibility of escaped exotic animals from private collections, though again, the specific description of the creature doesn't match any known animal perfectly. The most rational explanation is a combination of factors: a few genuine sightings of misidentified animals, amplified by media coverage, leading to mass hysteria where people genuinely believed they were seeing something supernatural. Throw in a few deliberate hoaxes for profit, and you have the 1909 Jersey Devil panic. But here's the problem with that explanation. Sightings didn't stop in 1909. Throughout the 20th century and into the 21st, people have continued to report encounters with the Jersey Devil. In 1951, a group of boys in Gibbstown, New Jersey, reported seeing the creature near the Delaware River. In 1960, tracks were found near Mays Landing that couldn't be identified. In 1993, a forest ranger named John Irwin reported seeing a creature matching the Jersey Devil description while on patrol in Wharton State Forest. Multiple sightings occurred in the early 2000s, including reports from the area around Galloway Township. In 2015, a photograph taken in Little Egg Harbor Township went viral. It appeared to show a strange winged creature with an unusual shape standing in someone's backyard. The image was blurry and inconclusive, as these things always are, but it reignited public interest in the legend. Skeptics argued it was probably just a bird in an odd position or a manipulated image. But believers pointed to the similarity with historical descriptions. Modern paranormal investigators have conducted numerous expeditions into the Pine Barrens, attempting to document the creature. They've collected stories from locals who swear their families have encountered the Jersey Devil for generations. Some of these accounts are genuinely unsettling. People describe seeing a creature that defies easy explanation, hearing sounds that don't match any known animal, and finding evidence of something large and unknown moving through the forest. The pine barrens themselves add to the mystique. This million-acre wilderness area is one of the most densely forested regions on the East Coast, with vast stretches of land that remain largely unexplored and uninhabited. The ecosystem is unique: acidic soil, pitch pine forests, cedar swamps, and waterways that run dark with tannins, giving them an eerie appearance. It's easy to get lost in the barrens, and it's the kind of place where isolation and darkness can make your imagination run wild. But it's also the kind of place where something could potentially hide from human detection for a very long time. From a cryptozoological perspective, the Jersey Devil presents unique challenges. Unlike Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, which are supposedly animals that could theoretically exist within known biological parameters, the Jersey Devil's description is of a chimera creature with features from multiple different animals, plus supernatural elements like glowing eyes and apparent invulnerability to weapons. This makes it much harder to take seriously from a scientific standpoint. No known evolutionary path would produce a creature with horse, bat, and reptile characteristics combined. Some cryptozoologists have proposed that the Jersey Devil might be a surviving prehistoric creature, perhaps a pterosaur that somehow avoided extinction. But pterosaurs died out 66 million years ago, and there's zero fossil evidence of any pterosaur species in the New Jersey region. The climate and ecosystem wouldn't support such a creature. Plus, pterosaurs didn't have the mammalian features described in Jersey Devil sightings. The more likely explanations, if we're looking for a real animal, would involve misidentifications of known species. Great blue herons are large birds with long necks and unusual cries that can sound eerily human-like, especially at night. Sandhill cranes are even larger and have been known to terrify people who encounter them unexpectedly. Barn owls have faces that can look surprisingly human or demonic in the right light, and their shrieks are genuinely unsettling. A large owl or heron, seen briefly in poor lighting by someone already nervous about the Jersey Devil legend, could easily be misidentified as something more sinister, but this doesn't account for all the details. The clawed hands, the hooved feet, the ability to fly and walk — these characteristics don't match any single known animal. Either witnesses across 3 centuries have been consistently misidentifying and embellishing what they've seen, or there's something genuinely unusual in the Pine Barrens that defies easy categorization. There's also a cultural and psychological element to consider. The Jersey Devil serves a purpose beyond just being a scary story. It represents the wild, untamed aspect of nature that persists despite human encroachment. New Jersey is one of the most densely populated states in America, yet it contains this vast wilderness area that has resisted development. The Jersey Devil symbolizes that resistance, the idea that there are still places and things beyond human control and understanding. It's a reminder that the world is bigger and stranger than our urban, technological lives might suggest. The legend has become deeply embedded in New Jersey's identity. The state's NHL team is called the New Jersey Devils, with the creature as their mascot. Countless businesses, landmarks, and products reference the legend. The Jersey Devil is a source of local pride, a unique piece of cultural heritage that distinguishes New Jersey from everywhere else. In that sense, the truth of the creature's existence almost becomes secondary to the meaning it holds for people. So what's the final verdict? Does the Jersey Devil exist? The honest answer is that we don't know, and we probably never will with absolute certainty. The origin story is almost certainly folklore mixed with political satire and family feuds. The 1909 sightings were likely a combination of mass hysteria, genuine misidentifications, and deliberate hoaxes. Modern sightings are probably attributable to the same factors, amplified by the power of suggestion and the human tendency to see what we expect to see. And this is important, that doesn't mean every single witness over 280 years has been lying, mistaken, or hysterical. Some of these accounts come from credible people with no reason to fabricate stories. The consistency of descriptions across centuries and from witnesses who had no contact with each other is intriguing. The Pine Barrens are vast enough that something unusual could potentially live there undetected, though probably not a literal chimera creature. What we can say with certainty is that the Jersey Devil represents one of the most enduring and fascinating cryptid legends in American history. It combines elements of folklore, genuine mystery, cultural identity, and the eternal human fascination with the unknown. Whether it's a real creature, a case of mistaken identity, or purely a legend, the Jersey Devil has left an indelible mark on the collective imagination. The Pine Barrens remain one of the most haunting and mysterious places on the East Coast. If you ever find yourself driving through southern New Jersey on a dark night, with those dense forests on either side of the road, you might understand why people still believe you might hear a sound you can't quite identify, or catch a glimpse of something moving through the trees that doesn't look quite right. And in that moment, the question of whether the Jersey Devil is real or not becomes less important than the primal fear and wonder you feel. That's the power of legends like this. They connect us to something older and deeper than our modern rational worldview usually allows. They remind us that mystery still exists, that the world still has corners we don't fully understand, and maybe, just maybe, there's something with bat wings and glowing eyes still flying over the Pine Barrens on cold winter nights, continuing a legend that refuses to die. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the Jersey Devil. Whether you believe in cryptids or dismiss them as folklore, there's no denying the impact this creature has had on American culture for nearly 300 years. If you're ever in New Jersey, maybe take a drive through the Pine Barrens. Just make sure you're out before dark. And if you see something you can't explain, well, now you'll know what it might be.